This webinar today is based on a new accounts payable platform that we've been written to recently by SOS. I just wanted to run through a couple of slides before we just show the platform to you guys. We're expecting mainly customers today, so most of you know SOS. My name is James Overton, I'm one of the directors here, and I've got a couple of colleagues from the SmartOffice platform with us today. They'll introduce themselves shortly. So thanks very much all for joining. I'll just run through a couple of slides with you first. So most of you know SOS. Our business has been around about 30 years. Most of you know us around kind of print and potentially document management technology. You know, and we've been established about 30 years in that arena, and you know, got a lot of experience in that space. We also have a number of digital software applications, as some of you know. Some of you use us for services like DocuSign, M-Files, and some of the other digital services that we do. But it's fair to say that obviously, you know, the pandemic, you know, did change things for us. So we did see, you know, a considerable decline in print, but also a massive demand for digital services. So, you know, we found that businesses were having to migrate or adapt to the new hybrid way of working, and that meant that, you know, information wasn't necessarily accessible the way it used to be when you were all in offices, and also that, you know, some of the processes that businesses are used to operating in, they were completely turned on their heads, really. So, you know, having to trying to do manual based tasks, but remotely, created a massive challenge really for some of our customers. So, you know, we reviewed our portfolio, and we kind of, you know, bowed to the demands that a lot of our customers were making. And you know, one of the areas that we saw a definite demand in was process automation, but particularly, you know, around accounts payable. And you know, we had a strong relationship with Cantec and SmartOffice, who are a Canon Platinum partner, and you know, we've kind of, you know, explored the product offering they have, and you know, we're really excited about this new product line, and we're going to show you that today. So I'll briefly hand over to Greg. Greg, I know you wanted to say a few words on that, and we really hope you enjoy today. We're going to be doing a recording of everything that you're seeing, so that will be sent to you guys after today. We'll be doing questions at the end. Obviously a demo that we'll try and keep short but to the point, so to make sure you get a full understanding of the platform. And feel free, if you want to chat or post any questions as we go. We'll do those at the end anyway, but we really hope you enjoy this. So I'll pass over to you, Greg.
Thanks, James. Thanks for that intro, and thanks to everyone for joining the webinar today. So yeah, I lead a company called the Cantec Group, and part of our company is SmartOffice. It's our software division. So Cantec Group is very similar actually to SOS in size, but also in the nature of our client base. Like SOS, we're in business for almost 30 years, providing print services to a pretty loyal customer base, similar to yourselves. But what we found, I suppose, in the last 5 to 10 years, as the digital revolution has really taken hold, many of our clients are asking us to do a bit more, particularly around automation, providing solutions to the everyday business problems, and maybe solving some of the bottlenecks that they have. And one of the key bottlenecks, I suppose, is the accounts payable process, which is something that really adds no value to a business, but has to be done. So through our SmartOffice software division, we developed what we call SOAP, SmartOffice Accounts Payable. And what that does is it automates the accounts payable process, as my colleague Paul will take you through shortly. So we have worked really closely with James and the team at SOS, with their professional services guys this year. so that they can roll out this product to you, their customer base, along with some of the other digital services that they provide. So that's a brief intro to our business. We're very much a similar company to SOS in that we're, family run originally. It's just that we've been operating on the other side of the Irish Sea. And the guys have been really interested in this product because of the success that we've been able to show them that we've had with our customer base. So we really hope that you guys enjoy this and that you appreciate what a great product it is that we've created. So I'll hand over to Paul there now, who'll take you through the product in more detail. Thanks very much. Paul, I think you're still silent there.
Yeah, I'll do a quick introduction into myself there before I get into showing the a test driver on the product, guys. So as Greg and James alluded to, obviously the pandemic in particular has accelerated the digital sphere by a factor of 5-10 years. So companies that have been trusted with dealing with their print and information, such as SOS and previously Cantec, these client base now are looking for a more digitized solution. That's across all business aspects, remote working and collaboration. The one we're going to focus on today is around the AP function and dealing with purchase invoices in particular. But obviously that applies to any document or information flow in a business, which the guys in SOS are really starting to, I suppose, find their stride in now in business process automation. So what I'm going to do here today, guys, is show you the product from the top line. I'm going to try and keep it snappy and interesting, but we'd encourage everyone to ask questions, and we'd encourage everyone to get in touch with your account manager for a full demo. The reason being for that is that obviously everyone's particular workflow is a little bit different. One of the main features of SmartOffice AP is its customizability. So the ability to tailor itself to each individual's workflow, the existing systems they have, and the process they have as well. So I'll give you a generic overview of it now, what it does and how we do it. But we'd encourage to ask questions, to put feelers out there, and obviously hopefully get a more in-depth demo so we can show it working with your exact workflow. So I'm going to get onto my screen here, guys, and I'm going to get rid of my ugly mug. You guys someone might give me the thumbs up there to let me know that our screen is shared.
Yeah, we can see you, Paul. Thank you.
Excellent, guys. So what we've got here, guys, is the central dashboard for SmartOffice AP. Just to give you some technical info about what it is and how it does what it does. So it's a cloud-based platform hosted on the Microsoft Azure platform. Essentially what that means is it's accessible from anywhere, doesn't require any software download or servers, and is fully compatible with remote working. Basically, if you have an internet connection, you have access to your central system. And by hosting it on the Microsoft Azure platform, your data, your financial data, is 256-bit SSL encryption, which is basically bank level encryption, with multiple redundant servers based in Ireland, the UK, and spread throughout Europe as well. So just before I start going into each individual tile to show you what it does, guys, and to give you an overview, I'll set the scene a little bit here about how the system operates. So part of the SOS service, the professional services, is that they will set up all of your existing suppliers, your chart of accounts, your cost centers, and anything else that you guys have, tax codes, etc., and set all of them up in advance of connecting to SmartOffice AP. SmartOffice AP acts like a connector in between your ERP software and your accounts package. So if you have, let's say, Sage, and you have an ERP where you generate your POs and GRNs, SmartOffice acts as the connection between them. So even open source API that it has the ability to connect into any systems. So we have already pre-built connections with some of the largest accounts package out there as a technology partner, such as Sage, QuickBooks, Xero, and then in the ERPs such as Nav, SAP, Carriage, Intact, etc. So what we do when we initially set up is we connect into both of those systems, or one of those systems if you're only using one, and we extract all the key information out of them and populate your own custom SmartOffice AP software. The primary ingestion point then for all your suppliers' invoices, supplier statements and credit notes is one central email box. So we'll use for the example of the demo, SOS@smartofficeap.com. So the instruction will go out to all of SOS suppliers, and it will instruct them that this is now the central email address for all of the invoices, statements, credit notes. This is where it all goes. So that's the primary ingestion point for SmartOffice AP. I'll address the other methods as we go through here, but obviously the whole idea of this is digital workflow, and it's to automate the whole AP function from even procurement, invoice receive, matching reconciliation, and the tedious task of posting it to an accounts package. So all I'll do, guys, is I'm going to go through the tiles sequential, because what we're doing here is giving you an overview of the technology and how it would apply. And then these 6 tiles in the middle will represent your workflow on a day-to-day basis. So the first tile we have here is search and reporting, and pretty self-explanatory of what we got there. Everything that comes through SmartOffice AP is OCR'd, interpreted, and then indexed. So you get unlimited document storage built into the platform as well, and it'll automatically break it down into all these fields for retrieval thereafter. So you can do search by supplier, tax codes, spend, document type, date range, PO numbers, invoice numbers, and pretty much anything that you can think of. Right down the level as that we can actually search for a word or a product on a document, and it'll automatically pull those items up. So what we hope to get rid of is obviously the paper trail, the lever arch files, the time it takes to reconcile documents when you need to find them or retrieve them for a query. So what we have directly in here is anything that flows through. We break it up into all these headings automatically, and then we put it into a easy search repository for you guys. The second tile that we've got going on here deals with another method that will always happen no matter how far we've come. There'll always be a supplier that insists on sending paper invoices. So if the supplier insists that they must send paper invoices for whatever reason, or you must download them from X, Y, and Z, this is the way that we deal with that. So you can either scan directly to that email address, SOS@smartofficeap.com, or indeed we can do drag and drop. So taking the PDFs in bulk, dragging the files here, and sending them for processing. So an additional step, and as I said, it's not the primary method that we would look for because it's an extra step for you guys, but we can deal with all variations. Third tile we have here at the top is also built in to the system, is a full BI reporting dashboard. So anything that's coming through the system here will automatically break up into all these pieces of information you have as well, so that you can generate and strike up reports on your AP process very easily. So we can see supplier cost and spend, category spends, approver status, where the invoice is in the workflow, nominal ledger, employee, and pretty much anything else that you can think of that relates to a financial information on a purchase invoice. So we have some pre-built ones here, but as we go through a setup with each individual client, they'll have their own reporting requirements, and this essentially is where they live. So I'll move on to the 6 tiles in the center here, guys. And this essentially mimics your workflow of the day-to-day accounts payable employee or your finance department. So I'll go through them individually and give you a little bit of overview of what these do in each function. And then we'll move on to the 2 key pieces here, which is statement reconciliation and PO. So the first 2 tiles are pretty infrequent, but still important to recognize. But again, they're self-explanatory. So new documents sound exactly like they are. So part of the PS service that will be done from SOS is that we'll set up all your existing suppliers. We take all the information and workflow, and that will be at the point of go live. But obviously, you're going to add new suppliers as you go on throughout your business, through the weeks and months. And once we've set up the configuration here, what you're going to see is how we extract the information in the first case and how easy it is to add new suppliers as well. So every document that arrives into SmartOffice, we use our intelligent capture brain. So basically the engine behind SmartOffice is a blend of capture technologies and logic based. So it's intelligent capture, it's OCR, it's anchor points, and it's AI. So we use all the tools at our disposal to automatically recognize what's on an invoice. And what we'll have here on the right-hand side is a questionnaire to confirm that what we've captured is indeed correct. And remember, this is only done for new suppliers that you're taking on to confirm that we've got it right. Thereafter, everything will be automatic. And everything that we've set up previously will obviously be included in this and it'll be automatic. So you'll see here, this is a typical invoice that came in. And our system has drawn boxes around everything that we believe is the vital information on this invoice. And at the right-hand side here, we have a questionnaire to confirm that these are all indeed correct. So how do we know this is an invoice? It tells us it's an invoice. So we can see that that's captured correctly and it moves on to the second piece of information. How do we know it's from links and lines? It tells us. And you'll see here, it moves on again. I won't go through this because it's obviously that bit boring, but you'll see here, every part of the invoice is captured and quantified correctly. So we know that we can move on and say that this is indeed correct. So once we do that, we'll also get down to supplier rules. And every supplier that is on SmartOffice AP can have a custom set of rules about what needs to happen with that invoice. So we're talking about your approval hierarchy, who it needs to go to, whether it was the original purchaser or a different department. And those type of invoice approval trees can be set up on any metric that you can think of. So whether it's a location, a delivery address, an invoice value, a cost center, a nominal code, or pretty much anything that we can capture directly off the invoice, or a logic-based rule that we've applied, and because you've told us this is how you want the document to go around. So that's a top line introduction into how we capture what we capture off the invoice, and then some information around how we do the workflow piece. So we're just going to come out here into the second tile, guys, which is alerts. So again, we're hoping this is infrequent, but no matter what we do, it is a part of AP. So built into our system are basically error and checks and balances. And the common errors that happen in any AP team is duplicate invoices, incorrect tax codes applied, incorrect calculations on the invoices, or incorrect date range, as in an invoice has come in with the wrong information outside a specific date range that you've told us. And what this does here is all of the common AP issues are automatically caught by our system at the point that they come in. So through the alerts, we will actually capture that, yes, this is a duplicate invoice. You've had this invoice number 23092 before, and we'll also give you a link to the document to verify that this was already processed. Here's the date, and it can be rejected back to the supplier directly. So we have the pre-built ones, like I mentioned there, the common problems that are in AP teams, but also there will be industry or even supplier specific issues that we can set up in the alerts folder as you guys require. The idea here is to capture the issues before they become an issue in payment or reconciliation, and to take that manual issue or manual error element out of the human interaction. When you're in a high volume situation when it comes to invoices, people are generally under pressure, and the onus is on getting everything processed rather than checking everything is correct on the invoice. So what we allow here is we give back the time of the people in AP. So we take away the manual interaction, the extraction, the review error, and we get them to focus on the important stuff, which is querying with suppliers, rejecting to suppliers, or chasing credit notes and things that are going to make a difference to your bottom line. The next three tiles are different versions of the same type thing. So depending on your type of internal workflow or the industry that you're in, approval, review, and confirm delivery are used in different ways. The approval section basically gives you a snapshot of the invoice after it comes in, we extract all the data out of it, we interpret the data, and then we reconcile. I'll give you an example of that. So as I mentioned, we plug into your PO systems or your account systems automatically. So what we do at the point of an invoice coming in is we've pulled in all the PO information and we've pulled in the GRN information, and we do three-way matching. So before anyone has touched the button or even seen the invoice, we will automatically have reconciled this invoice and let you know if it's correct or if there's an error that needs to be looked at. And here's a sample screen of what we've got going on here. So white meaning that no PO or GRN is in for this invoice. So that needs to be queried as to has it been ordered without a PO. Red means that it has arrived in, but there's a variance. I'll give you a quick look about how that looks like. So you'll see here, an invoice has arrived in and it comes in this type format, your standard format. What our system does is a thing called universal view. So we extract all the data and we put the same information in the same location all the time for ease of use. So we clear up the invoice table data and present it to you this way. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to give you a summary of the stock that you actually booked in and the invoice that arrived. And you can see how particular we can get it here. You'll see we're highlighting that this is a variance of 1 cent versus what you booked in versus the invoice that came in. We'll also give you access to the POs directly in your system from here if you want to verify or look up any POs, and the same with GRNs. We'll also display the GRN that was created for this data so that you can review to ensure that everything is okay. Now, variance of 1 cent might seem like overkill. Some industries that's okay. Some industries you want to get that automatically approved. So we also can set up tolerance limits based on either a financial value or a percentage. So we might say that anything, a variance under €5 is okay to green light and to match off. A few other things while we're on the approval screen that are of particular interest is not only is the SmartOffice system obviously an AP reconciliation tool and automatic to do it, but it's also an audit trail and a central communication tool as well. So quite often, especially in larger finance teams, you'll have multiple people with multiple inboxes, and the information can live in different places. With SmartOffice AP, that's not the case. So everything is a central single source of truth. All your POs live here, all your GRNs, and all your invoices. If anyone comes in and makes an adjustment to it, you'll see on the right-hand side here, you'll have a full audit trail and timestamp as to who has done what with that and where the current process is. You can add internal comments and predefined comments as well, as you so wish. And you can also then, if there is a variance that you want to query, you can then action it directly up here. So approve obviously is simple enough. Reject. So because we're plugged directly into your accounts package, by pressing reject, you'll automatically pull up the supplier's email address, copy yourself, which is the user login, and you'll be able to write your email directly here. Once you press reject, the system will automatically generate an email back to the supplier attaching the invoice and a reason for rejection. The same can be done with hold. So if you are not sure what to do with this invoice, it's arrived in the wrong place, you're not sure if you can approve it, if the variance is too big, you put the invoice on hold, a reason for the invoice going on hold, and you can notify the supplier that it's on hold or not, depending on if you want to notify them they won't be getting paid, and then save. Part of this functionality as well will be to forward the document. So I want to forward this action to an internal employee, and I want to set an action on that. I want you to review this invoice, I want you to approve this invoice, and the reason why. And what that does in the hierarchy of approval is once I forward this document to info at SmartOffice, it becomes their responsibility in the approval reporting. So you'll always get a logic-based flow of where the invoice is, if there's a bottleneck, or what exactly is happening on the invoice. So coming back out of here a second, guys, we'll give you an example of nominal ledger invoices as well. So assuming that you either don't operate POs or GRNs, or even people who do operate POs and GRNs, there'll also be nominal ledger suppliers such as utilities or rates or electricity. So the system automatically handles those as well by automatically coding the correct nominal ledger code directly from based on the supplier rules and what we've told us when we're setting up. We capture the invoice, capture all the data off it, and then we'll apply nominal ledger rules to it. So all that has to be done there is ensure that it goes to the right approval person before it goes off into the system, or whatever needs to happen in relation to the action, approve, hold, reject. One of the also powerful features in SmartOffice AP is the brain. So on everything that comes through SmartOffice AP, I mentioned that we capture everything for storage, but we also capture everything for business intelligence. So every single product line item that comes through SmartOffice is also captured and quantified. The next time we get an invoice with that same product, we'll give you a price history. So as you build up a bank of knowledge inside SmartOffice, we will actually tell you exactly how your costs are going per product. You'll see here there are icons here suggesting a price change, and on the right hand side here it tells you exactly what's after happening. So 3 of these products have gone down from the last time that we bought them, around 19 to 20%, and 2 of these products have gone up by 20%. So on items where you're not tracking them by POs or GRNs, it's very, very important to still understand your costs and the trend in your products that you're buying in or your services. So SmartOffice will automatically give you this reporting capability, and also we can set up notifications around these. So we might say price increase of 2-3% is acceptable. Anything over that, you need to notify the purchasing manager, the finance director, or whoever it might be, and we'll automatically set up a trigger for that. Moving on to review and confirm delivery. Again, as I said, the same type process around approval, but for different stages and different uses. So in an organization, you may have the purchasing manager or the requisitioner do the approval or the management of that, but the finance director or the MD wants to see everything that comes through, or everything over €1,000 or everything over €10,000. That's where the review tile will come in. So based on the rules that you tell us, we'll put a certain amount of invoices into a review function, which will allow a user, probably a upper management user, to review these invoices and this spend before it moves off into the upload section. Same thing is done on confirmed delivery. So if you're not, pardon me, if you're not operating a purchase order or a goods receipt note facility, you still need to confirm, or you'd still want to confirm that you have received these goods. So we can automatically do a confirmed delivery routing based on the supplier type, the department type, or the cost center. And we might say that we ordered 10 laptops and they're not for stock, but before I pay this invoice, I absolutely want to know that I got these 10 laptops. So once that invoice comes in from another, before anyone does any action on this, we'll automatically send an email to the purchasing approver, but also maybe goods in or a different department or a different location even, to confirm. We'll show them the invoice and say, have you received these goods? Yes, no, part delivery, whatever it might be. And that communication goes back to the accounts payable team, so they know how to action it for the payment for the supplier. If you'd imagine, we can also do conversion into GRN. So although your system or your process may not allow at the moment, you may want to start some sort of goods receipting process. We can automatically convert the invoice into a live GRN where they can tick off the line items, whether it's 5, 10, or all of them, and send that communication back, so you're getting better control of the AP and booking workflow. The last thing that happens in this workflow is the upload. So just if you can imagine for a second, I know we're going in granular, but all of these actions are happening automatically. The first time that anyone has to do any interaction, whether that's AP or a purchaser approver, is at the point that we have reconciled, understood the document, matched it against the PO and GRN or delivery confirmation. That's the only interaction in this entire process from the invoice. So we receive it in automatically, we read the information, we understand what needs to happen, what approvals, if there are any, need to happen on this before it ends up in the upload section. And the upload section is basically your final visibility on everything that has been approved through the system, through your workflow. This can be done as a manual basis, where I can set the upload wizard and say I want to upload all of the confirmed invoices since the 30th of September, because I'm at my month end and I want to close it out. We can also do that on a timed automatic basis, that we can do it once or twice a day and say everything that has gone through my approval process and ended up as approved by the relevant people will be uploaded on a timed basis. Last two tiles, guys, I'll go into, and then I promise I'll be quiet and we can get into some questions. But one of the most powerful features, statement reconciliation. As much technology as anyone has produced on accounts packages or ERPs, supplier statement reconciliation at the end of the month is still tears on a ruler type stuff. So at the end of the month, or coming close to it, your supplier will send you a statement with 50 line items on it, saying I owe 100,000, and can you please pay me that? This is what I'm saying I owe you. It's then some poor soul's job to find those 50 invoices, to check that we have indeed received them, that it has been approved for payment, and that everything is okay. And you can imagine if that's one supplier, all of a sudden this process doesn't just take hours, days, it can take weeks to reconcile before a payment run is approved. So we've also built a system that digitizes and reconciles the supplier statement. So as I mentioned earlier, everything that comes through the system is automatically classified and understood via the invoices and credit notes, but also the supplier will send their statement directly to the system as well. And what you see on the screen here in front of you is that we've digitized down the statement into the line items, so the dates that they came in, the invoice number, and the values that they're saying they owe us. On the right hand side, before anyone ever sees it or touches the button, our system will automatically reconcile everything that's on it. Not only that, we'll give you a little bit more detail. So it's fine to say we have these 10 invoices, but are these 10 invoices okay? So yes, we have these invoices. Here is the current status of where they are. So uploaded, uploaded, and uploaded means that they're fine and they're gone to your accounts package. Ready to upload, they're ready to go. But awaiting approval, why is this happening? That we shouldn't be paying that because it hasn't been approved yet. I need to quickly see why this is still stuck in approvals. So I just click on the document here and it'll automatically find this invoice for me, and it will tell me why this invoice is still stuck on hold. And you'll see here, it's because there's a price change of 20% and it has gone to be queried by someone internal in the organization, or indeed back to the supplier as well. So in an instant, instead of trawling through email chains or trying to find documents of the purchase orders, the GRNs, goods in, everything is presented instantly to you, and it is taking out pretty much all of the manual element of the supplier statement reconciliation. Not only that, we're obviously going to instantly identify a statement line item that doesn't exist in our system. So what we're saying here is we did not get this invoice, so it couldn't possibly be approved for payment. So it's a 0% match. Now this is a demo account that's already been reconciled, but what you'll have is a button here as well that will just say request info. And when you click on that, it'll automatically generate an email back to the supplier with 2 live links. And it will request the supplier either to forward the document through the link or upload a new statement with the line removed, which will supersede this statement here. So all the supplier is doing is getting a notification back saying we do not accept this statement. Here are the changes and here's how to make it. So no 3- or 4-way communication, a very direct that will always end up in a fully audit trail system directly here. What we'll also do, if you're happy that this is in fact the state of the invoices, we'll suggest that the accrual amount on this will be, in this case, 3,900. So we know that although they're charging us 10,000, there's an accrual due for the supplier into the following month of 3,925 because these amount of invoices are not approved and therefore should not be paid. Last item, guys, I'll go into as well is Other than a full AP automation system, our system also deals with purchase invoice requisition directly in the software as well. So if your accounts package doesn't have a PO functionality, or if it's that you haven't used it or it's too cumbersome, we have a very, very simple purchase order module built directly in, which is mobile optimized, which is already using all of the information that you have in your AP system anyway. So all of the suppliers and cost centers and tax codes, all of the products you've previously bought from these suppliers because they're automatically captured, and a very, very simple dashboard that says what you have out on order with these suppliers, what dates, and also a very, very simple way to create a PO. And we can set multiple PO types, multiple approval paths, and multiple document instructions directly on them. So fully customizing your PO system to your own branding, logo, T's or C's, or a particular workflow if you have a capital expenditure flow that requires multiple tiers, adding documents, adding quotes, different rules per value, per budget holder. We can really get down into the nitty-gritty here, the same way we can on purchase invoices coming in. So guys, that is the top line of the system. As I said, that's a very generic one where we're trying to do a catch-all. I'd encourage everyone, first of all, to ask questions if there's anyone on it, but secondly, to get in contact with James and the team, and we'd love to show you something more particular down to your particular workflow. But remember, the idea of AP automation in general is to take away a necessary evil. It is long, cumbersome, takes multiple people, multiple approval methods, manual data import, and a lot of work, including supplier statement, to get a payment out. So it's a necessary evil, but very, very evil all the same, because it's the process of paying money to give away money. If we can give people back 70–80% of their time to focus on doing more key things in the business to affect the bottom line, then I think that is a fundamental goal that all businesses should be going for, because we want to give people that are capable of high quality work, we want to give them high impact work in our business. So on that note, guys, I'll finish up and I'll invite a few questions, and if anyone has queries, and thanks very much for your time, guys.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks very much. I'm just going to come back on camera. I think Greg was going to do that as well. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. There are a couple of questions I can see, Paul. One of them is you mentioned accounts payable, major accounts payable packages that you integrate with. What are the main ones that you integrate with?
So at the moment we have about 48 pre-built integrations. All of the SME accounts packages, such as all the Sage versions, so Sage 50, Cloud 1, QuickBooks versions, TASBooks, Xero, QuickBooks, Exchequer, Big Red Cloud, Big Red Book. So we have a list of 52 that are pre-built. Anything else outside that we haven't come across before, as we said, we're an open API system, so we can connect directly in. What I would suggest on that is, obviously, you guys in SOS, if that client is interested, can provide the full list of pre-built. But again, I'd stress that even if it's not on the list, custom is kind of the name of the game with SmartOffice as well. We want to integrate with everyone, and we make it in a way that it's very, very simple for platforms to connect.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you. And there was another one. Can multiple users log in and manage different tasks? Yeah. So SmartOffice AP is a full user-based permission system. So depending on the permission rules that you set per employee or per member, they will only see the relevant tasks, invoices, approvals, or POs to them. As a super user or a finance manager, you will have access to that full table of data. So you can see exactly where the invoice process is with certain approvers. But for the users in your general AP team, they only see what's assigned to them, and we do that based on role-based permissions.
Just on that, sorry, just on that, James. I mean, somebody in my position, obviously, I wouldn't be doing an awful lot within it, but the review section is very handy for me, so I can see exactly what's being paid at any given time. I can also see if there's anything there that I need to approve. So I would have, very light touch access to it, which is suitable for me.
Okay, that's great. Just if there's anything else. You mentioned you've gone through the statement configuration. Are there? That was the question I saw. Are there multi-tiered approvals based on invoice value?
Yeah. So as I kind of touched in the things in the demo itself, we can basically set up any approval rules that are based on a particular workflow in an organization. So that could be based on multiple approvals needed on the one invoice, and that could be set by a cost center, a value, a particular type of requisition, a particular supplier, a particular budget that's assigned to a department. So absolutely anything can be set up once we understand the workflow that's required.
Okay,